The good life, full of fun, seems to be the idea.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Another big exciting day in my kitchen. What are we gonna make? You probably already know from the title of the YouTube video, but what we're gonna make is carbonara. Carbonara sauce is beautiful. It's silky and smooth and creamy and silky, and it's got such a beautiful depth of flavor. And it's one of my favorite Italian versions of pasta, or certainly pasta sauce. So I want to share it with you. It's fun, it's easy, it's simple. It's not a complex recipe whatsoever, but I'll tell you the result of it is absolutely delicious. Quick history on carbonara sauce. It actually came from Italy, and it's actually from Rome, or at least it's known to come from Rome. And what really made it popular were the GIs in World War II near Rome. And what had happened was a lot of the guys from America liked their bacon and eggs. So you've got this beautiful recipe with essentially a bacon and eggs mixed with pasta. So that's really what exploded its popularity, not only in Italy, but actually here in the United States. And there's so many different versions of carbonara sauce. So take it from me, a guy on YouTube, and I put a lot of different recipes out there. So sometimes people are a little bit rough, you know, if it's not exactly the way they remember it. I think sometimes we make the mistake that the way we had it, or the way we remember it, or the way that our mom made it, somehow that's the only way. You know, one of the beauties of Italy is that if you go to a different town, a lot of the recipes, even though the base is the same, it really became known based upon what was available at the time. So certain meats were available in, let's say, Bologna that weren't in Venice or Rome, or certainly Sicily, or certain vegetables weren't traditionally put in one dish that came to another. So when it came to the United States, just depend on where that person came from and how they got to make it. But there's a couple of basics. So just take it easy out. Take it easy out there sometimes. But that being said, it's a beautiful recipe. It's fun. It's simple. It's easy. So I'll stop chatting and we'll get into recipes here. So we want 1 pound of pasta. Now you want, you know, you call it spaghetti, but spaghettini. But it's, you know, you want a higher count in the diameter. You want the larger pasta, if you will, the larger spaghetti. So it's going to be round. And it's not the one with a hole in it. It's just a solid, large pasta. So again, get what's available, but that's certainly the better pasta and more traditional pasta that's used to serve it. And we've got 1 pound here. And just a quick thing on pasta, if you can, look for Italian-made pasta, and then the ingredient is durum flour. That's it, semolina durum flour. You don't want any additives if you can avoid even the nutrients and such. Just, you want semolina durum flour. That's all you want. That's the best way to go. So we got 1 pound of pasta. I've got the water boiling in the back, or almost boiling, so we'll get going on that. And I've got 1/3 of an onion, and I cut it nice and small. One of the reasons, so it cooks nice, and two, it's just going to release a lot of its flavor. So I got 1/3 of an onion. The main ingredient in carbonara sauce is egg. Egg is what gives it its silkiness and creaminess. So the traditional form of carbonara, and I would ask that you try it this way if you haven't made it this way, is without cream. It's really the fat in the oils and the egg that give it that beautiful, oh my God, that beautiful silky creamy flavor. So in this case, for 1 pound of pasta, I don't know what language that was. I've got 4 whole eggs and then 2 egg yolks, okay? And remember, the yolk is really what's gonna give you the fat. It's gonna give you that beautiful, silky, smooth, creamy flavor and creamy texture. So that's why we wanna up the yolk count a little bit, okay? I've got 3 tablespoons of butter, all right, and we're going to use that with the olive oil when we saute everything, okay? I've got a little bit of parsley, and it's flat Italian parsley. That's not to cook it with, it's just to dress it with when we finally plate it. And then what I've got here is guanciale. Now guanciale is the jowl of the pig. It's the meat that's coming from this area. So it's cured a little differently. Now some recipes you can use pancetta, so you can use pancetta as a substitute, which is totally fine. The jowl meat it's a little bit more tender, it's a little bit more depth of flavor, it has a little bit higher fat content, so it tends to give off its fat a little bit better. So if you can get just ask for that when you go to the meat department if you will, an Italian meat market will definitely have it, but some of the larger stores will have it. And it's guanciale, and that's the meat here of the. If not, pancetta is a total fine substitute. You can use bacon. Bacon is smoked. Remember that. So Italian, if you will, bacon as they call it, is not smoked, it's cured, where our meat, if you will, pork belly, is going to be cured and smoked. So traditionally it's not used with smoke, but you know, if you want to use it, you can do whatever you want, right? Play around with the recipe, mix it up a little bit if you want. So I've got a 1/2 pound of guanciale and I cut it nice and small. I personally don't like big hunks of meat when I'm cooking it in the pasta. I like it smaller so it's well dispersed throughout the meal, throughout the dish, and it just, to me, it tastes a lot better. Last is going to be our cheese. Now our cheese has to be great. Some of them will ask for a Parmesan or Reggiano. Some of them will ask for a Pecorino Romano. I use both. Why argue, right? You can't have enough cheese in anything. So I use about 1/3 cup shredded of Parmesan, and I use a 1/3 cup of Romano, okay? So one's sheep and one's cow's milk, okay? And that's gonna add a little bit to the creaminess, very similar to like, if you will, a Caesar salad, right? You take Caesar salad with egg and vinegar, a little mustard, and you mix all that cheese in there. It's great. A main ingredient in the carbonara sauce is pepper, fresh ground pepper. You're gonna want a lot of pepper, and in order to get all this cooking, we're gonna want some olive oil. We're gonna need a good high quality extra virgin oil. I don't know where you could get one. Oh my God, I do know, shameless plug time. So for you guys that aren't familiar with our videos, and for some of you that haven't bought any oil yet, we own a farm in Olive Grove in Italy. We actually co-op with some other farms now, and it's Vito and Joe's, my 2 boys, Vito and Joey. And I named the company, if you will, after them. So we have our own version. It's extra virgin. It's Italian olives only. And they're actually crushed within a day after picking, and then it's bottled, and it's absolutely delicious and beautiful. So it's true, authentic, extra virgin Italian olive oil right from the Puglia region. So grassy, earthy. It's got a good, strong, peppery kind of feel to it. So great, beautiful extra virgin olive oil. You can get it right on our Facebook. You can grab it right on Amazon. Just go to Cooking Italian with Joe on our website and click buy. We've got a large bottle, small bottle, and I'd love for you to enjoy it and experience what we love, certainly from Italy. All right, guys, welcome back. So what I like to do is I like to get a larger pan, and I like the side to be a little higher, because what we're going to essentially do is we're going to take the pasta and we're going to put the cooked pasta, and when it's done, we're going to put it right in here. We're going to mix everything right in here. So it just makes it easier. A lot of times I've used a smaller pan or a smaller side, gets all over the place, okay? So real simple, we're gonna use about 1/3 cup of olive oil for the pound, okay, of pasta. All right, and then I'm gonna use the butter, and we're gonna pop that in. Again, some purists may argue, but actually some of the original versions actually have the butter, which is great. I'm gonna throw my onion in there, and I'm gonna throw my guanciale in there, okay, which is a diced up, very similar to pancetta as we talked about. You don't want to add a lot of salt or any salt to this, because your meat, your cured meat, actually has salt in it, and your cheeses have some salt. So it's not something that's typically going to need really any salt. Now I'm going to cook this right on the stove here, and we're going to just get it down. We're going to get everything nice and brown and beautiful and soft, so the onions are going to sweat and they're going to get real translucent and tender. And what's beautiful is the oils from the guanciale, the oil from the pancetta, if you will, that pork is going to actually all assimilate and marry with the olive oil and the butter and all the flavors, and then it's going to get brown and not quite crispy, but just on the verge. And when it gets that golden brown, it's starting to caramelize it, so you're starting to pull out of those sugars out of it. So let's pop this right on the stove. We're going to get this going. All right, so I got to get it at low heat, and I'm just going to give it a quick stir here, just to get everything kind of coated. So I got the rapid boil going, so I'm going to pop the pound of pasta right in there. Beautiful, all right. Okay, guys, here's our carbonara sauce, right? So we've got our 4 whole eggs, 2 yolks, right? 1/3 cup of Romano, 1/3 cup of Parmesan, and it's really that simple. We're going to add our egg, 4 holes, 2 yolks. My 2 yolks are sticking in there a little bit, right? You're just going to grab a little whisk here, get her going, right? And then, before we add anything else, I like to get the yolks broken, right? And then get a good mix going here, okay? Essentially, I've got my egg mixture, and all I'm going to do now is just add my cheeses. So I'm going to add my Romano, Pecorino, and my Parmesan Reggiano, and I'm going to mix that in, and it's going to make like a kind of a creamy creamy sauce, and then before I really crank it, I want to crank a lot of pepper. So I'm going to give this a good stir, and then I'm going to let this set, and that's essentially your sauce right there. I always like to throw a little spot of olive oil in there just to give it a little, I mean, you can't add enough Vito and Joe's olive oil. And then that's it. Give it a good stir, and then just let it set. And then when we put it in the pasta, the heat of the pasta will actually cook the egg. So I'm gonna set this aside, and let's take a look at what's going on in the stove. Hey guys, all right, so let me just show you what's going on in here, if you guys can get a good shot of that. You see that? See how it's just starting to brown? So watch your heat. You got those beautiful oils, you got the beautiful flavor of the meat coming through, the onion starting to break down, your pork is starting to break down, the meat, and that's really a big key of it. You know, it's gonna give you that salt and that beautiful flavor. And then my pasta's going really well over here. So we're gonna give it a good check, see that? Now this is the thicker pasta, so you're probably talking a good, whoo, that's hot. See how that's still kind of stiff, see that? I've got that crunch in the middle, so not ready yet, but it's almost ready, okay? So we're just gonna keep that going, and just make sure you're stirring it. All right guys, here we go. So I thought it'd be a little easier just to do it over here than the stove. So here's my meat, my olive oil, my butter, my onion, everything's cooked down, it's beautiful. See how nice and gold, isn't that just absolutely gorgeous, right? Golden, right? And then what I'm gonna do, in the order in which I do it, I'm gonna let this cool right on the table here for a little bit. Now it's not gonna be cold, but you know, you don't wanna make scrambled eggs. If it's too hot, it'll scramble it, right? You want it to be silky. So the first thing I always do is I always add the pasta first. So kind of neat. So I've got this beautiful meat, olive oil, butter, you know, with all, whoop, got a little piece out there. Huh. General rule in our house is, oh my God. If it flies out of there, you get to eat it, okay? So now I've got that creamy egg mixture, right? So I've got it right here. And then what I'm gonna do is while I'm kind of stirring it, I'm just gonna mix it right in there. And what's gonna happen is everything's gonna melt, and all the cheeses, the fat from the egg, all the flavors, your pepper, everything's gonna mix beautifully, right? Oh, look at that. You can see the cheese. So you're gonna see the heat will melt the cheese. Whoop, another piece fell out. Not doing it on purpose, I swear to God. All right? And I'm gonna take this, and there you go. Oh, and then little step, that black pepper is a key ingredient. So just to finish it off, make it look beautiful, little bit of cheese just over the top, and then just a sprinkle of parsley just to give it that beautiful color and feel. And ladies and gentlemen, that right there, simple, easy, fast. Oh, that is good. All right, guys, so I'm gonna take a nice hit of this. Oof. All right, guys, you ready? I tell you, just the smell. You know, you can smell that meat, the egg, the cheese, the olive oil. Oh my God. Just that first, I mean, the moment it tastes your tongue, and you can taste that crunch of the meat with the onion. Oh my God. You know, that butter and the egg just mixed to make it so creamy. Oh my God. That is absolutely delicious. You know, and the pepper's there, but it doesn't overpower it. Oh my God, that is awesome. Trust me when I tell you that thing's gonna be gone. I might even eat that whole bowl. Absolutely delicious. I'll tell you a little side thing you can do to kick it up. For some of you guys, you know, ever see people like to hit Tabasco or red sauce on their scrambled eggs? You throw a little red pepper flake in there, boom, just kicks it right out of the park. It's unbelievable. So, a couple different things. Hopefully you guys learned something today. Absolutely delicious, simple, easy, fun, family recipe can last you forever. Guys, thanks so much for allowing me to share my heritage, my traditions with you. Set some of your own traditions and heritage in your family. Spend some time with your family in the kitchen, guys. Until next week, Mwah. Buon appetito.
It's the good life.